West Boise and Garden City are two of the least talked about suburbs of Boise, possibly for good reason. But there are some hidden gems in here that go overlooked. So I'm going to help you see why I chose these two suburbs, what they are like to live in, why they could be the worst suburbs in Boise, and what most people don't talk about that can make them the suburb you end up moving to. These two suburbs are different, but they are close enough in proximity and style, other than one big difference we'll talk about that some of you might find really interesting. But Garden City is a small strip along the Boise River. It is connected to downtown Boise, Eagle, and of course West Boise. Garden City has the fairgrounds and baseball stadium for our minor league baseball team. There is the Boise River and Greenbelt that runs through all of Garden City. So you have quick access to the river, park, fishing, biking. You're also 5 to 10 minutes away from the foothills for mountain biking, hiking, or walks outside the city. West Boise is the larger brother of Garden City. You get Boise Town Square Mall, which is actually it's not a bad mall compared to what I'm sure a lot of people are used to for malls. It has a cheesecake factory, the Apple store, plenty of shops and food options, and it is usually actually pretty busy. West Boise is connected to Meridian and gives you great access to everything in the valley with how centralized it is. You're 5 to 10 minutes from the village in Meridian, you're 5 to 10 minutes from downtown Boise, you're 5 to 10 minutes from outdoor activities or even the airport. It all sounds great, right? Well, not exactly. And we're going to cover everything you need to watch out for. We're also going to talk about the areas that are true hidden gems and some of you would really enjoy living in. So let's start off with taking a look at some of the housing and neighborhoods. Most of Garden City is going to have industrial buildings with homes intermingled in between that commercial property. South of the Boise River is especially this way, with homes that are run down or older. There's little pockets of nicer development while still being surrounded by a lot of commercial property. There is also a number of mobile home parks scattered around, and the nicer parts are north of the Boise River and then also towards Eagle, with neighborhoods here getting into the $1 million range, places like the Woods or the surrounding neighborhoods around the golf course in Garden City. These are houses right along the river in the Boise Greenbelt that are much different than most of what you will see and are tucked away from the commercial properties and the older parts of the city. We will talk about more of this later when we go over an area that has a ton of potential for some of you who want a specific style of living. But when it comes to West Boise, it is a similar story with a lot of old commercial property throughout the area, older neighborhoods and new developments popping up in the middle of commercial stores, mobile homes, and older neighborhoods. That is kind of the theme of West Boise. You have mobile homes, rundown homes, townhomes, and $1 million builds all in the same block. It can be hard to know the little pockets where this isn't as much of a problem, which as a real estate agent and a Boise local, I will always make sure we are finding the exact place that fits your needs. So give me a call or text anytime. I would love to answer your questions and really help you along your journey of moving to Boise so that you feel confident and don't move here and regret the area you chose, because that does happen and it has happened with other people. But we'll get back to West Boise now and I'll stop giving you my little ad read. So overall, the homes in West Boise are averaging $450,000, and in Garden City, it is substantially more because of those $1 million homes near Eagle, and then some unusual outliers we'll take a look at. Regardless, both of these places are more affordable because they are less desirable places to live in general. The price of homes in West Boise can give you a good reason to find a home here, because you can save money and try and find a home in some of those hidden pockets, or just save the money and enjoy the benefits that both of these areas can have, like the mall or village in Meridian being so close. If you aren't familiar with the village, it is an outdoor mall with restaurants and shops, a movie theater, tons of events on the weekend, a gym, and a giant park next door. There's also an In-N-Out. So having access to the village or mall close to your house is a real plus. especially if you live in the better spots in West Boise, which are mostly around the hills along the north end of West Boise. In that northern section, you have neighborhoods on top of a hill with great views of the foothills and the Boise River, with none of the issues that we talked about later in West Boise. One of these is called Greylock, which homes in here are around 600,000 to 900,000, and it's a great community. You are right next door to Hyatt Hidden Reserve, which is a cool little wildlife preserve with walking trails and marshes. The north side of West Boise has a number of subdivisions exactly like this, and they are a great spot because you go a little under the radar, so it can be a little bit quieter part of town. When it comes to Garden City, the real benefit is having such quick access into Boise. You're 10 to 15 minutes away from downtown, or if you like to hike or get outside, you are close to the mountain biking trails in the foothills, and of course the Greenbelt runs right through Garden City. But the best area is not the $1 million neighborhoods over by Eagle. It is an area right next to the Boise River and 5 minutes from downtown. This is an area for some of you that would be a perfect spot. It is a new revitalization that has brought $1 million condos and single family homes, many of them with a unique kind of modern look. You can live directly on the Greenbelt and Esther Simplot Park with access to Whitewater Park for surfing and kayaking. Right now it is just the beginning of what it is to come with a lot of these new developments. There continues to be a lot of development, and it's looking like over the next few years, this little pocket of Garden City could be a really big hotspot in Boise. If you live here, you will deal with some of the major concerns we talked about, but if the new developments continue like we think they will, it might be able to eliminate a lot of those concerns in this area. If you are someone who doesn't care to be close to downtown or have a modern small community with walkability and biking access, there's plenty of places in Boise that will give you access to the Boise River, hiking trails, and that modern style. So really, it's a better fit for those that really have a specific taste for the Whitewater Park, the walkability and bikeability to downtown Boise, or all of the breweries and coffee shops in this area without living in downtown Boise itself. Now, the bad part, that area I just discussed has some issues with a few apartment complexes and houses with multiple sex offenders in the same building a few blocks away, as well as the crime that does happen in Garden City. This is something I think a lot of people forget about with kids or as a whole, but it's a good gauge on an area and is important to a lot of people as far as safety goes. Garden City as a whole does not have as many sex offenders per mile as other desirable parts of the valley, and this is one of the major cons of West Boise. If you look at the map, you can see just how many are scattered throughout, and if you look close, you can see the concentration along Fairview Road. This is an area that is a little worse than the rest of West Boise and the valley as a whole. If you take a look at some crime maps and crime statistics, the same is true. You get a lot higher concentration of crime along Fairview Road as well. So it's an area that you might want to stay away from. If you want to learn more detail on some of the crime and areas to stay away from, check out this video here where I go into detail on not just West Boise, but I go into detail on Garden City and all of the 5 main areas near Boise that have some safety concerns and may be a place you want to think about not moving to. But thank you to everyone who watches. I look forward to meeting you all in person.